Hey, it's 16 Mark. It's 6:33 p.m. on Monday, July 7th, 2025. And welcome to a new series of reaction videos. I'm going to be reacting to the Tasting History with Max Miller series. I've watched a few of his videos before, and I reached out to him. I asked him if it would be okay if I could do reaction videos to his videos. And he said, sure. So thank you, Max. I'm going to link to his original video down in the description. So please go and watch that and check out his channel. Um, so I had to figure out how to do this because my computer isn't the best. Um, so um, I'm recording using Streamlabs OBS for this series of videos. And I decided to download the video ahead of time. And I'm not going to be watching it live on YouTube while I'm recording because I'm recording using the computer and I didn't want to play in a web browser at the same time. I don't know if my computer can handle all of that. The videos might end up looking choppy. So I decided to download a low res version of his video. I'm going to watch it in GOM Player, which is the player that I usually use to watch videos on my computer. Um, and I had to do a lot of testing with the sound options and everything um, to make sure that everything's good. I think it's going to work. um, so, and any feedback regarding like the audio and anything like that is welcome. Just let me know. I don't have a dedicated like standalone microphone, so I'm just using the webcam microphone. And and if you're wondering why this is like less than 720p, it's 480p, okay? And that was my choice just to kind of limit the size of the output file to try to get them up fairly quickly. I mean, it's standard def, but I don't want these videos taking up a whole lot of hard drive space needlessly because the output from my webcam doesn't look high def really as it is. So there's really no point in recording in high def. Who's back? Domino. I have four cats. In case you're new to this channel, hi. I have four. I have five cats. Sorry, and you'll see them occasionally. Um, anyway, so let's get started. This first video, I'm going to go in chronological order from when he released these, and this is called "How to Make Medieval Cheese." Sounds interesting. Let's check it out.
Hi everyone, welcome to Tasting History. I'm Max Miller.
Hi,
Have you ever heard
Max.
the saying that the moon is made of green cheese? I've always found it baffling, not because the claim that the moon is actually made of cheese, but that it's green. Because if you go outside, I've seen a yellow moon, I've seen a white moon, never green. Well, it turns out.
Okay, wait. I have heard the thing about the moon being made out of cheese, but I don't think I ever heard that it's made out of green cheese. That's kind of weird. But let's keep going.
That in the Middle Ages, green cheese had nothing to do with the color of the cheese, it had to do with the age of the cheese. It was fresh cheese, new cheese. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own dazzling white green cheese.
I like his theme music.
Now there are all sorts of ways to classify cheese. You've got your hard versus soft, your aged versus non-aged, your stinky versus non-stinky, and then you've got cheeses made with rennet and cheeses made without rennet. Rennet is an enzyme inside of the stomach of some animals, and it helps to turn milk into cheese. Rennet tends to give the cheese a stronger flavor, whereas cheeses without rennet tend to have a softer, milder flavor, including quark and ricotta, and what we're making today, which is a type of farmer's cheese. Now for this recipe, all you'll need is 1 gallon of whole milk, not ultra-pasteurized, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice, about 2 lemons, and 1/4 of a cup of white wine vinegar, maybe a little bit more as we go on. You'll also need a colander, cheesecloth, and either a Dutch oven or a heavy metal stock pot. First, line the colander with 3 or 4 layers of cheesecloth and put that in the sink. Then add the lemon juice and the vinegar and set that aside. Pour the gallon of milk into the pot and add in the salt. Then heat on medium-high heat, stirring frequently with a rubber spatula to prevent scorching until the milk registers 185 degrees. As soon as it gets to 185, remove the pot from the heat and stir in the vinegar and lemon juice. Then leave it alone. Don't touch it for about 10 minutes. At this point, the curds should start to separate from the whey. The liquid should be fairly clear. If it's not, if it's still the color of milk, then add in another tablespoon of vinegar, give it a very small stir, and let it sit for another 2 to 3 minutes. At this point, you're ready to separate the curds from the whey by pouring everything into the colander. Then leave it again for 8 to 10 minutes. Now, while we wait for the whey to drain away, let's take a look at some great moments in cheese history.
Oh boy.
Sorry, that was awful. I should edit that out. I'm not going to, but I should.
Okay, before we get into the history lesson, something in this video, the cloth thing reminded me of something. Not about making cheese, but back in 1990, during summer vacation, my mom, and my sister and my niece and me, we all went to Poland for like a month because my family's Polish, and I remember my mom's sister, I think, had a cow, um, and she would milk it. I don't know if I tried milking it or not, but I know when after she milked it, it's like she poured the milk through a cloth, I guess to separate out the fat or something like that, and and I drank it, and it definitely tasted different than the milk that we have here. Don't know if it would necessarily be more nutritious. Probably not. But anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Now, it's thought that cheese was first discovered around 8000 BC, right when we were domesticating the sheep. Well, not we, people. And in 2018, a jar found in the tomb of Thales, mayor of the ancient city of Memphis, was found to hold ancient cheese. Now, of course, the cheese was several thousand years old, and so it's rock hard and really gross, and scientists have actually found that the original cheese had a bunch of bacteria in it that causes what's now known as Mediterranean fever, so not great. But, just like Mediterranean fever, the love of cheese was about to spread across the region. Also, just terrible. In Greece, they made feta. Homer actually dedicated numerous lines in the Odyssey to describe the Cyclops' penchant for making feta cheese out of his sheep's milk. He even had an entire room in his cave dedicated to making cheese. In the larger houses of ancient Rome, they too had dedicated rooms specially for making and preserving cheese. But like feta, the cheeses of the Mediterranean at that time were very salty. It was the only way to preserve them for long periods of time in the warm Mediterranean climate. It wasn't until cheese moved north that you start to see most of the cheeses that we know today. Now, monks didn't necessarily invent all of these types of cheeses, but they did tend to perfect them. They had a lot of time on their hands, and they had to go most of the year without being able to eat meat. So they wanted various cheeses to add some variety to their diet. They found that lowering the salt allowed new bacteria to grow in the cheese-making process, giving rise to tons of different flavors that had never been tasted before. Brie, Camembert, Cheddar, Gorgonzola, Grana, Gruyere, and Roquefort were all popular cheeses on monastic tables throughout medieval Europe. Now, of course, most of these cheeses took a lot of time and a lot of money to make, and most people were poor, so instead they made their own fresh cheeses in their cottage. Get where I'm going with this? The cheese that we're making today is an early form of cottage cheese. Now, cottage cheese had pretty much lost its popularity by the early 20th century, partly because it was associated with poverty, and partly because of the rise of processed cheese. But when World War II hit, that all changed. The processed cheese, now called American cheese, along with dried compressed cheese, the precursor to today's Cheetos, were all shipped across the pond to feed our boys fighting the Nazis. Now, on top of that, meat was heavily rationed in World War II. So where was the home front to get the protein to keep those rosies riveting? Enter cottage cheese. The Department of Agriculture sent out millions of postcards with recipes for cottage cheese and different ways to use it. This is probably when Richard Nixon developed his infamous love of cottage cheese. Sometimes for breakfast, he was known to eat cottage cheese with ketchup, and for the last meal before his resignation, he ordered cottage cheese with pineapple slices and a glass of milk. That's a real picture of the actual meal. Now don't worry, I'm not going to be putting ketchup or pineapple on my fresh cheese. Instead, I'm going to actually make a sambo cod, a medieval cheesecake with it, on our next episode. But for now, let's go check and see that it's done draining. Once most of the whey has gone through the colander.
All right. Before we get into the finished product here, that's wild about Richard Nixon. That's weird. He must have had like a weird taste in food. It's so weird. Also, the thing about the monks, um, where he said they had a lot of time on their hands. So yeah, uh, they apparently made a lot of cheese and also beer. Um, from what I understand, I know that much that monks were known for like brewing beer. Um, yeah. In case I'm looking at the video, so I don't see like the video of myself on the screen right now. But in case you were wondering, and I'm pretty sure that the camera caught this, Domino came right up on my desk and he was standing in front of the monitor. But I got him to lie down now. This is basically the cat lying down spot on my desk. It's between the monitor and the keyboard. Cats love this place on my desk for whatever reason. Sometimes I can get them to sleep in the empty spot over to the left, but mostly they prefer right here. And sometimes they don't even sit down. They just stand up and they're just covering, they're just blocking my view of the screen. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
Transfer the cheese to a large bowl and stir to break up the curds and work in the rest of the whey. Now I need to leave the cheese in the fridge to chill for 2 hours before using it. It can stay up to 2 days, but the fresher, the better. Tomorrow I'm going to use it to make a sambo cod, the medieval cheesecake I mentioned earlier. If you want to check that out, make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, leave me a comment down below if you end up making your own fresh cheese, and I will see you next time on Tasting History.
Oh, that's the end of the video. And that was short. Okay, so, what was I gonna say? Cottage cheese. I didn't know that it fell off popularity. I like cottage cheese. I eat it sometimes. I also eat, what's that? Ricotta cheese, I think it's called. Um, Back in like the mid 2000s, like I was working at a supermarket for a few months, and I briefly got into a habit of buying like a different type of cheese like every day during one of my breaks, and I like packaged cheese from the deli. I had to use my car key to cut open the plastic, and yeah, I just enjoyed a piece of cheese every day. I like cheese. I really like sometimes when my mom and I went to Polish Deli, they had sheep cheese. And it came apart really easy. It was like a crumbly cheese, but I really enjoyed that. But yeah, that was an interesting video. Um, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this reaction, and I'll see you in the next one, and it's 6:49 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.